Hello guys, welcome back to another video. We're back working on the BMW E90 320d with the N47 engine. Now today I'm going to be swapping out the intake manifold. Now you're probably wondering, why am I swapping out the intake manifold? It's a pretty big job. It's definitely doable within a couple of hours, but it's quite a big job. And the reason that I'm doing it is because it suffers from a few common problems. Now, the problem that I have noticed first and foremost is the leak, the air leak at the front of the intake manifold. Now I will get into detail, I'll kind of explain once we have a look in the engine bay of the car, but essentially it's an air leak, and you'll notice when there is some soot and oil escaping from the intake manifold. Now along with that, the car has covered 156,000 miles. So there is a good chance that the swirl flaps, or in particular the rod that holds the swirl flaps in place, is going to be pretty worn. I mean, is it going to be to the degree where the rod itself may snap or the flaps themselves may fail? I don't know. We will be doing some investigating today, but I thought, you know what, I may as well just go ahead and replace the entire intake manifold. And right here we have a brand new intake manifold. Now this isn't a genuine BMW intake manifold, it is an aftermarket part one, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes on. To be honest, yeah, it looks decent quality. I can't really notice too many differences to a genuine BMW one, and obviously it's much cheaper. You know, at the end of the day it's just plastic, so I don't really see how there, you know, could be too many differences. One thing I have noticed is the swirl flap rod itself is not brass, which in the genuine BMWs, in the genuine BMW intake manifolds, it is brass, and that makes it wear. So I would say this is more than likely aluminium. Let's see if we have a magnet so we can test it. So we have a magnet here. Yeah, it's not steel, so I would say this rod is aluminium, so hopefully it should actually hold up a lot better. The flaps themselves, they look good, they look solid. Make sure it all moves as it should with this arm. Yep, swirl flaps are moving as they should. Obviously we don't have the actuator, that should still be good from our original intake manifold. But yeah, it looks decent quality. Guys, if you do want to get yourself one of these, there will be a link down in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, I think without further ado, we'll just get outside and let's get cracking. Okay then, so here we have the N47 engine, of course, and I do want to say this video is not going to be a step-by-step how to remove or how to replace the intake manifold. I have already done a couple of videos on that, so I will stick links down in the description box below. But this video is going to kind of be an experiment. Let's see how the intake manifold is looking after 156,000 miles. Now I will show you what I mean by the leak at the front of the intake manifold, but before I do that I need to remove the scuttle panel, the cabin air filter box and the main engine cover itself. Okay, so with the scuttle panel removed and the engine cover removed, you can see the intake manifold itself. Now if you notice that there is any soot or oil in this area here, I can guarantee the front seal for the intake manifold has failed. Now as you can see, there is quite a bit of soot around here. You might be asking, well, why is there soot in the intake manifold? That's essentially just from the EGR rerouting the exhaust gases back through into the intake. Now I know for a fact as well, this intake manifold is going to be pretty full of soot. You will see once I remove it. I just know for a fact that's going to be the case, and the map sensor as well, that's going to be pretty clogged up, so we'll be giving that clean at the same time. And so yeah, I think I will just get cracking in removing this thing. If you do want to know step by step how to remove it, like I said, there will be a link in the description box below. There is kind of two ways you can go about it. you need to get the wiring harness off of the intake manifold. Now you can either disconnect it from the ECU box, which is what I am going to do, or you can disconnect the sensors from down here, like the DPF pressure sensor and all the rest of it. But I think that's actually a bit more involved. You're better off just disconnecting it from the ECU box and then folding it all over and then going from there. Oh, just quickly before you get started, say for example you're going to be disconnecting the ECU, make sure you disconnect the battery first. I've already went ahead and disconnected the negative terminal off the battery. So let's get started now. So I've just removed the strip brace and this sound deadening here, which I'm not going to be reinstalling this. As you can see, it's quite literally falling apart. It does pretty much nothing anyway. It's just, like I said, it's just a bit of sound deadening. But we've noticed something very interesting. We can obviously see the intake manifold in better view now. And have a look here. You don't know what this is. This is not factory. This intake manifold has been repaired. Now, why has it been repaired in this spot? It's because the pipe that comes through to let the EGR gases through, it matches up with this spot right here, and this is where it burns a hole into the intake manifold. So yeah, this has had a hole in the intake manifold before, and it's been repaired. I've never seen one be repaired before, but I guess it's kind of worked. But yeah, good job we are swapping this out anyway. So I'm now at this stage where the intake manifold can be removed. As you can see, the wiring harness is tucked over out of the way. It's been unbolted from the intake manifold itself. Now there may be the odd connector or clip that needs to be unclipped around the back, but I assume this has been removed before, so whether or not they've put them back, we shall see. But yeah, there should just be 5 10mm bolts holding this in place now. One there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. So let's get them removed. Okay, so as you can see, intake manifold now removed. And if you find that you have a bit of trouble getting the intake manifold removed from the engine itself, it'll more than likely be the bolts falling back down into the holes. You need to make sure all of these are fully up and away from the engine. Then the only thing realistically holding it in place is the O-ring on this EGR pipe here, which goes in down there. But just keep persevering, just keep rocking it back and forth, and it will come out. Now I've made a discovery. This intake manifold has the swirl flaps removed. We have a look there, you can see the swirl flap blank, and we can see there's no swirl flaps in the thing. So I guess somebody has already been in here before, removed the swirl flaps and installed the swirl flap blank. Now you probably already know my thoughts on removing the swirl flaps. Takes away the drivability of the car, and I did notice that it was quite down on power, below 2000 RPM, and this is more than likely why. So yeah, hopefully when we install the new intake manifold we have the swirl flaps back, and yeah, we should have a bit more low down torque and a bit better fuel consumption as well. Now then, it's time to transfer all of the parts from the old intake manifold over to the new one. So I need the actuator, the EGR pipe, and the anti-shudder valve. Oh, and also this bracket as well. Okay then, so here we go. New intake manifold is now reinstalled. Anti-shudder valve, this bracket here, the EGR pipe, and the actuator. Did give everything a bit of a clean. The anti-shudder valve, that was particularly dirty, but everything is now reinstalled. Also gave the intake ports a bit of a clean. Didn't go too crazy though. I mean, you could spend all day cleaning those. Just gave them a quick scrape out and then cleaned the mating surface. But now what we'll do is get the intake manifold reinstalled, and then put everything back together as it should be. So as you can see, the intake manifold is in place. All of the bolts are torqued down. Pretty sure I've connected everything back up, but before I reinstall the engine cover, the strut braces and the scuttle panel and everything, just want to fire the engine up just to make sure we don't have any issues. Looking good. Okay then, let's get everything else reinstalled and let's wrap this job up. So as you can see, everything is now put back together and this is us. Job done. Okay then guys, so there we go. That is the intake manifold replaced on the BMW E90 320d. Just took it for a drive as well, and yeah, you really can tell the difference between having the swivel flaps in place and not having them in place. Seems like there is quite a bit more torque down low in the rev range. Now, whether or not I'm going to gain MPG, I don't know yet. Obviously, I'm going to have to drive it for a week or so and then see if we notice any increases. My guess is though that we will, because when I've done it before on a previous car, I have removed the swivel flaps. Then I noticed around 5 mpg down once I'd done it, so I'm guessing it's going to be around 5 mpg gain this time, refitting the swivel flaps back to the car. Now I guess the previous owner or previous owners did look after the car quite well. You know, the fact that they even knew about potential swivel flap failure, and you know, they've repaired the intake manifold, which I know a lot of people just drive for however long with a hole in their intake manifold and they don't know any difference. So yeah, I guess it is a good thing that the previous owner did spot that and rectify the problem. I know they've done things like replacing the crankshaft pulley, they replaced the water pump and a load of other things on the car as well. So yeah, the car has obviously been maintained by the previous owners. But yeah, I think I am going to wrap this video up. I'm going to leave it here. If of course you do want to purchase yourself one of these intake manifolds that I have installed today, there will of course be a link down in the description box below. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Hopefully you've learned something today. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in that next one. Peace!